sing it together. Oh, God will make a way where there seems to be no way. He works in ways.
I'm glad you're back with us and From the Heart. We're going to talk again today to Dr. John Hall. He's been around a long time in Scottsville. He started with Dr. Davis, and I'm going to let him just kind of reminisce about things. We need to mention his children, his other children, and how he had them help with the farming so he could get them to know that they had to work at something, and because all of them are industrious and are doing well. So we can start where you want to. Let's start, though, all the way back. How were you raised? Were you a good little boy?
No, not much.
How much family, how many brothers and sisters did you have?
My dad was a tough guy to work for. He wanted you done right. If he didn't tell you it's a good job, you better go back and do it again. Okay, but anyway, I was born in the height of the Depression, okay? And my dad had just graduated from medical school in 1932. And during the war, he was the only physician in Magoffin County. And I had grown some before the war broke out and during the war, big enough to follow him around. But anyway, he made a lot of house calls at that time. And my job was, we'd drive the Jeep as far as we could go, and the folks that he was going to see would meet him with the horse or a mule to ride, to up the holler. Well, my job was to follow behind the mule and carry his doctor bag.
Well.
And that's how that I got started. He never mentioned it. I have a younger brother too that's a physician. He never mentioned to either one of us about going to medical school or putting pressure on us to go to medical school. So we both ended up going to medical school because of what we saw in him.
Was it just the two of you?
No, I had an older sister.
A sister.
The older sister, she was the first in the family, and then my brother's 5 years younger than I am. So I went to the University of Louisville Medical School, and he went to UK. But he turned out to be a radiologist. He wasn't a real doctor.
Oh, okay. Okay. He's gonna love you saying he isn't a real doctor.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's how I got started, and he would always give me advice. I tell you, when Vera was born, she was the only girl born here in Allen County. All the rest of them were, three of them were born in Louisville while we were there in school. And then Michael, the baby, was born while I was in the Army down in Georgia. Well, Vera kept complaining about her hip being in bad shape. And so one Christmas we were going back home to visit with the folks, and my dad looked at her and he says, "Something wrong with that girl's hip. You go get it x-rayed." Sure enough, she had a congenital dislocated hip.
Oh.
And ended up having to have a cast on her legs for what, Dale, 6 or 8 months? And got well. So, we all missed it when she was born, and she couldn't walk very good because she could nose in the pen and she could limp a little bit. But she got back and the hip healed up fine and she's done well. So we hadn't really had much sickness with the kids, though. When Beth was, that's the oldest girl, when we were in medical school, she developed aseptic meningitis, and was in the nursery there where they could take care of her, and she didn't like that because they put a net over them, so they couldn't climb out. She could climb out of that thing just like nothing before.
She wasn't going to stay under that net.
And Dale's friend was a pediatrician who was training up there at that time, and he took care of her. And didn't have any problems afterwards. So
That's
we
great.
did good. But they've all enjoyed the schools here and their friends they've made, you know, and it's amazing how that, of course, Beth's the oldest, and you know, and they still keep in touch, even though they're miles apart, with their friends they had in high school, and I think that's something to
Yes.
speak about.
Yes,
You know, and
my daughter does the same thing.
Yeah,
The one she
so,
went to
yeah,
high school
yeah,
with, she
but,
maintain that friendship, and they get together sometimes.
Yeah,
Well, a lot of times.
yeah. So, but it hadn't been easy. Dale used to get mad at me because I have to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and go deliver a baby. but we've.
With all those you had at home, how could you blame her? Oh,
So.
I marveled at how she was able to manage that, because I thought, now Dr. Hall is on call all the time, 24 hours, and
Yeah.
how can Dale take care of all those kids?
Well.
But you know, I came from a family that didn't have. I had three brothers,
Yeah.
two half brothers and my brother, but they were all so much older. My brother
Yeah.
was 20 years older than I was, so
How-
see, I sort of had a small family.
Yeah.
And to see you all over to Emma's, I think, how could Dale do that with him being a
Well.
doctor? But you did, and did well. The
Yeah.
kids are all doing well. Let's start with the oldest one. Where is she?
Beth is in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, right outside of Charleston.
What is she working at something?
Well, I have to give a story about that too.
Okay, well, give it to me.
She went to Center, graduated, and then went to nursing school at Emory in Georgia, in Atlanta, and got a degree in nursing. And after she married, they moved to Virginia. Her husband was up there, and she worked in neurosurgery in the hospital there. But then he got transferred down to where they are now, to Mount Vernon, Mount Pleasant. But anyway, she had to cross this big bridge across the bay there, and she got scared of it. She says, I'm not going to do it. So she quit nursing, and has got her own nursery with flowers and all that, and all of her friends and neighbors count on her to keep the flowers and the shrubs good.
You know, it's something how we go to college, and a lot of times we don't stick with it after we get out.
Yeah.
And I think, did they waste their money on me? You know,
Yeah.
but I did teach. I taught for 3 years.
But she loves what she does, so I mean I cannot complain.
Okay, now let's go to the next one. You've got her.
All right, John. Of course, John went to Moorhead, graduated from Moorhead in a music degree, and he's been teaching music.
And he
How long?
likes to.
He was in Stanford for 5 years, I think, and also he ran for mayor and was a mayor for one term.
Really?
In Lincoln County. Okay. So, but then Dale's parents were getting older, and so they moved down here, and they lived on the farm for 8 or 10 years before they passed. But and John lives out on the farm now, and he
likes to arrange flowers too, doesn't
yes,
he? Is he the one that
he
does
had a flower
beautiful
business,
arrangements?
with his uncle when he lived in Sanford in Lincoln County. So,
Okay, let's get another one. I don't want us to run out of time without getting these kids on here.
Daniel is the next boy. He married Cecil Haven's girl,
Okay,
Mary Jane. Okay.
right.
And they moved to Danville. Of course, that was where Center College was, and he worked for Merck Sharp and Dome, which is a drug company, a well-known company. Worked for them for 23 years until this recession came in. But now he's got his own business now, doing what is it? He does something like a UPS type thing, ships packages out and all this. And he enjoys it so.
Okay.
And then Michael is a pharmacist. He had his own business in Danville and was doing well, but decided it was a 24-hour business.
Oh, yes.
Because
I see that with the
so
Larry
he finally
Stone.
he finally sold his business, and he works for different drug companies around the area in Danville and in Liberty and this. And of course, then Vera teaches school here and lives out in the county. So
Now you see what a good memory he has. Not everybody can remember all that, but that's a great family to remember.
I kind of keep up with them.
I know you do. And I know something else about you that you haven't told me. How about football?
Oh, yeah. Well,
tell me about. He goes to football games a lot and basketball. Which is your favorite?
Football.
Football. Okay.
Okay. But anyway, the boys, as they were coming up and going to high school here, I didn't push them, but I suggested maybe they need to play football for at least 1 year, you know. But John was first, and then Daniel, and then Michael.
Right.
All right. But they all started out and stayed with it until they graduated from high school.
So you had to go then, didn't you?
I had to go.
I have to.
Michael was probably the baby. He was a quarterback and had the passing percentage for this high school for a long time. In fact, just this last year, he was voted in the Hall of Fame out here. Okay. So he was a good he is a good athlete. He was on the team that went to the '81 state tournament too. So
no wonder this dad enjoyed football.
Yeah. So,
but you went to the games even after they graduated.
Oh yeah.
Didn't
In
you?
fact,
Kept going.
I still go. You know. And I was sitting in the cold out there last Friday when we were playing Roll County too. But I just gotten to I do a lot of physicals for them, you know, because they have to have a physical telling the powers that be that they're able to play. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So but they I enjoy the young kids, and see them how they progress and how they grow up and all that, but it's
well, it's an amazing thing to have. I'm glad they have the football team here. You know, for many years we didn't have a football team.
Yeah. So, it was I guess it was '69 the first year they had started the football.
Well, I know they didn't have it when we were in high school or college.
They did have basketball, but
basketball was my thing. I liked it.
Yeah, but.
Now, if you were going to tell me something else, I want you to go back and tell me about when you were at home and how you, some of the things that happened with your family. Now, you were very close to your dad, weren't you?
Very close, very close.
And he passed away when?
Right, and he passed away in '77.
77.
Yeah.
I knew he'd been gone.
And my mother lived on till 2002, I think. So she was up in the '90s. But Dad, but it was he was an outdoorsman. If he could go quail hunting or squirrel hunting or something like that, he'd drag us boys along. You know, and that's how we learned to hunt. You know, but now they go to do it as a sport. But when we went out to hunt, we killed squirrels and rabbits and quail and
I bet cooked them
and brought them home and
brought
cooked them. I mean, that wasn't fun. That was you putting something on the table. So that's the way we hunted a lot, because that was in those days you didn't have the traveling area to go to, because in the mountains it was a good time to grow up in.
Do you remember very much about the war?
The war? Yeah, well, not in World War II. My granddaddy was still alive, and we were over there about every Sunday to go see Granny Hall's to eat with the rest of the big family they had. But when it was time for the news, we all gathered around the radio, because we were really concerned about the war in Germany and the Japanese War, and we were in bad shape for a while.
Now, this was World War II.
World War II, yeah.
My brother went into Cecil went into World War II, but he was lifted off of the ship and broke, as they let him down, he broke his back, and he didn't get to fight anymore.
But we, things were rationed back in those days. If you had a sticker on your windshield that tells you where you're A, B, or C, and then according to the A, you could get so many gallons a week, and B, less than that, and C, not very much gas to go.
Okay, well, I have some of those rationing books that my mom had kept.
Yeah.
But I really didn't know what that ABC is.
That's what it meant.
So A was, you got more.
Yeah.
Well, how'd they determine that? Who got more?
Well, it all depended on what your occupation was.
Okay.
If you, for instance, a doctor that made house calls and stuff, got a little more gas than those people that just drove around to the grocery or something. Okay.
Okay.
So, and then, you know, the police officers and all that had to have more gas and all that. So, but that was the one thing I can remember. We had a little country store just down a block down the road from where we lived, and my biggest thing that I enjoyed is my dad would give me a nickel to go down to the grocery, to the store, and you could get the biggest Hershey bar that you ever saw for a nickel.
Oh, that those days were here again.
But that,
I love chocolate.
Yeah, but that was, you know, we didn't think anything about it, you know. Hey, you know, it's the war was on. We had to send all of our efforts to the war effort. So, but that's a long time ago.
Well, that's what I wanted you to do, is tell me some of the things of a long time ago. A lot of things that I didn't know about you. But I tell you what, to have had a light stroke or whatever happened to you, you have a great memory.
Oh, thank you. But my dad was a disciplinarian. If he told you to do something, you better do it. Or as I can remember, one of the worst whippings I ever had was that it was on my birthday in the middle of July, and we had a big victory garden, you know, an acre or more, you know. And on my birthday, he could call me around and told me, he says, I want you to have this whole garden hoed out before the day's over. And I said, well, it's my birthday. Doesn't make any difference. Get out there and do it. I did it.
And when he spoke it, you knew that he meant for you to do it.
That's right. And, you know, it just, you didn't cry and carry on and back talk them. That wasn't allowed.
No.
You know, so that's that.
I know you have a garden at your house. You did have out front a lot.
Yeah.
And did the boys work that, or
They
the kids worked it?
They mowed the yard, and I have a little garden down there. They helped with that too. And then plus what we did the farm, we used to put up 2 big barnfuls of square bales of hay, and when they were big enough to do that, and it didn't hurt them.
No,
it was
a
good
farm
for 'em.
kept them busy.
That's right. Kept them out of trouble. Okay.
Yeah. And today there's too much time on kids' hands.
Too much free time, and the parents don't know where they are.
Right.
That scares me. So, but
yeah,
anyway.
and usually when you don't know where they are, they're doing something they shouldn't be doing.
Well, that's true too.
But you know, there isn't the discipline that there once was.
No.
I remember my daddy boy, he could just speak, and I knew. I took a penny once from Linda, my niece, and we were just 2 years difference in our age, and he asked me if I had her penny, because she said, she took my penny away from me, and I had the penny in my pocket. Boy, he came in and he said, do you have her penny? And I said, no. He said, you are not telling me the truth. And I remember him whipping me, And I never had a whipping from him. He always, just when he spoke, I knew that's was it. Now, Mom was a different story. I could get by her sometimes, but my dad he was like that too. And I say that because, you know, if you're listening to the program, Dr. Hall and I both would say you need to keep up with your kids. You need to know where they are. Check their rooms, under their beds if you have to.
Yeah.
You need to know what they're bringing home and what they're into.
And who they're running with.
Right, right.
So that's the thing. But,
Drug has become prominent, and you've had your office broken into, haven't you? So,
2 or 3 times.
2 or 3 times, I think.
Yeah. We caught them once. We had just a little safe in there that we kept the drugs in, you know, and the papers that we needed. They carted the thing out the back door with a dolly, you know, and so I finally got the alarm system put in, and that's, knock on wood, that has stopped that. Hopefully it won't amount to anything anymore.
I know they say that most of them are getting it at their own homes now. From the prescriptions they've got.
Well, times are bad, I understand that, but you ought to be able to find something to do. I don't care what's digging ditches or what he's doing. You need to find something to do.
Well, that's biblical, that, you know,
I know.
we work if we eat.
Yeah. So.
Putting it in my terms, but that's what it is, you know.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's see what I was going to tell you. You talk about the hardest whipping you got. We call dog days in August. The Licking River runs through McGoffin County and around Sayersville, just around and the neighborhood boys, we enjoyed swimming down at the old swimming hole. And it was, of course, the dog days, the water was dirty and nasty, and, you know, and wasn't running very good. And so another day, my dad stopped and told me, he said, "Now, I don't want you around that river today at all." And he went to work. Well, as soon as he turned the curve away from the house, I headed off for the creek and the river down there, dropped my britches and jumped in and looked up on the bank, and guess who was standing there?
And he knew you were going to do that. John Hall, he knew John Hall was going for that water. So did you get a whipping from it?
Well, I got a good belt whipping there all the way home. So
you knew what it was like to have a belt, huh?
Yeah. So, but he was a stern man, and he wanted you to realize that he's the boss, and I was supposed to, you know, follow up on that.
And you've kind of been that way with your children.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
I can tell that.
Yeah.
And it breaks our heart when we hear
that doesn't hurt them, you know.
No.
Yeah, at all.
You know, you see that sign that Jimmy Harston has put up, that spare the rod and spoil the child.
Yes.
And so many people really don't realize what that means.
Yeah.
But punishment of kids is just not done much anymore. I mean, you know, the timeout is fine, I guess, if it works. But I always made my kids go over to Emma's yard and get a switch, and I used the limb on that to get their own tool to be swatted with, and they didn't like.
The worst thing about getting a switch, though, is if my dad would send us boys out to get a switch, you bring it to him and give it to him, and he'd break it in two. It's not good enough. Go get another.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I think mine thought the one I got was too big. It was just a little old thing that I'd pull off those branches there, which is now a tree. But
it made a better man out of him, I tell you that.
Yes,
you know,
it does.
Because no trouble. You know, I just thought that I could do anything I wanted to behind his back, you know, but I found out that
I don't think you'd want too much after that.
Yeah.
Well, I never did. My dad was just more, he would tongue lash you, you know, that you've got a mind.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he was a lot older. He's more like a grandfather, because I came along late in life with them.
Yeah.
And He was real kind-hearted to me. We do a lot of things together, but now when that one time he whipped me, I've never forgotten it. I'll
Okay.
tell you that.
Well,
I don't. I just that did it. I wasn't gonna ever cross him again.
yeah, but
Well, you've been real kind to come and do a program with me and take time out, because I know you stay busy, and when I saw the article in the paper about you, I thought I'm going to get him to come out and just talk to me about John. We got about 2 minutes left, so if you think of anything you want to tell them before we quit.
well, I don't know. It was a little article in the paper. I try to tell every now and then, and is that when I first came here, you know, that was in '61. There weren't any paved roads much at all.
Right.
And I got a call at dark one night, and the couple wanted me to come out and check their daughter, that she was having terrible abdominal pains and all that. And so I went, and she was laying in the bed, and checked her blood pressure and listened to her, and finally pulled the cover down, and she was pregnant.
Oh my.
And in labor. And I told the parents, I says, you know, we need to get her to the hospital. Says she's going to have a baby. And they looked at me with wild eyes. Says, Doc, that's not possible. Says her husband's been in the pen for 2 years.
Oh my goodness.
So I said, well, I don't know about that. It says, but we need to get her to the hospital right away so we can deliver this baby.
And you did?
We did. Had an 8-pound boy. I remember that well.
Well, that's a good one to end with. We're running out of time, but thank you for coming on From the Heart, and I'll get you back one of these days and get Dale with you. So
All right.
thanks for coming, and
All
you were an interesting person to talk to, and I knew you would be. Thank you for watching From the Heart.
All right.
God will make a way where there seems to be no way. He works in ways we cannot see. He will make a way for me. He will be my guide. Hold me closely to his side. With love and strength for each new day, he will make a way. He will make a way. Let's sing it together.